This is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Don Brennan in for Scott Dennis today. Thank you for joining us. Now this weekend, one of the biggest party nights of the year with the big celebration weekend, people ringing in the new year. It's also the holiday with the most arrests for suspected drinking and driving across the United States. Drive sober or get pulled over. ABC 7's Jacqueline Matter is here with what local law enforcement says they will be watching out for. Jacqueline?
Yeah, as part of the national Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign that kicked off last week, the Sarasota Sheriff's Office will focus on two key goals. Those efforts concentrated on traffic violations and impaired driving, specifically looking out for drunk drivers, all in hopes of saving lives. They say with so many visitors here in Sarasota County for the holidays, they're trying to keep both residents and travelers safe as they kick off the new year.
It starts with just being aware and knowing when you've had a little bit too much or whoever is in control of the keys has had too much, and planning ahead. You know, if you're going to go out and celebrate, think before you go out, have a plan before you even leave the house.
Perez says just this past weekend, within an hour and a half on one single day, they had 42 traffic citations, 24 warnings, and 1 DUI arrest. Again, that was in 1 hour and a half. The campaign will end on January 1st. However, the sheriff's office says their efforts to curb impaired driving never stops.
Thank you, Jacqueline. An arrest warrant has been issued for a man in connection to a deadly shooting that was yesterday morning in Bradenton. Detectives are looking for Carlos Valdivinos, who they list as a person of interest in the murder of 20-year-old Jose Armando Alonso Lopez. Deputies were called to the El Paisano bar just after 2:30 yesterday morning for reports of a shooting. They found Lopez at the scene. He was taken to Blake Medical Center, where he died during emergency surgery. If you have any information about the shooting, you're asked to call the Manatee County Crime Stoppers at 866-634-TIPS. In Northport, officers are stepping up efforts to reduce the number of pedestrian and bicycle accidents. Over the past 5 years, there have been 23 accidents involving pedestrians and bikers along the US 41 corridor throughout the city. Beginning on Sunday, the Northport Police Department will start a new campaign to try and reduce that number. They will do so through the new high visibility enforcement program. Officers will be patrolling several key intersections to increase public safety and awareness of those traffic laws. Now, joining us right now with a look at today's weather, a quick look before we get to the big weather. Josh Stone, who's in for John Scalzi. Josh Stone in for John Scalzi.
That's a mouthful right
John
there.
John Stone in for Josh Scalzi. See, I went to school with a John Stone.
There you go.
Yeah, she went to
That
University of
works.
North Carolina, where Jacqueline went. See how it all ties together?
All the J's.
Yeah, a lot of J's.
Wow.
I'm the only one without. DCB. Oh, I am a junior, so there you go.
Oh, there. See,
There you go.
it's back to the J's.
Yes.
Well, let's check out the forecast for today. You know, we're right on track. We're calling for low 80s for highs today, and that's where we are right now. 80 right now in Sarasota, 82 in Northport, and we're actually going to experience a west coast sea breeze that's going to pretty much cap our temperatures out at where they are right now. If there is any sort of shower activity, it's going to be very light. It's going to be isolated. And things will be changing, Don, because there's going to be a potent cold front coming our way by the end of this work week. That's going to definitely change our temperatures. This forecast, what we're looking at right now, will look completely different by Friday, and we'll talk all about it in the main weathercast just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Josh. In the Manatee County School District, Superintendent Dr. Diana Green is looking to reverse major differences in disciplinary actions between students. New data from the district shows black students make up 14% of the student body, but are on the hook for 33% of out-of-school suspensions and office referrals as well. In fact, black students are 3 times as likely to get suspended than their white peers. Black students in Sarasota make up about 9% of students with a 19% suspension rate. And Dr. Green in Manatee County says she's looking at ways to work on training and strategies for teachers and helping students change how they handle situations. Meanwhile, the number of students graduating from the Manatee County School District is on the rise. This year, 83% of students received their diploma, and that's an all-time high for the district. In the last 5 years, the graduation rate has gone up by 20%. District officials say students have several options that help how they take classes, how flexible school is for them, and this all is helping make it easier for them to graduate. Speaking of easier, those looking to get a master's degree in business administration from the University of South Florida, Sarasota, Manatee, well, it is getting easier to complete one. The university is adding more online classes to give more flexibility to students. 2 online courses were added last summer in accounting and business valuation. Another course in finance will be available this spring, and more online classes will be added gradually. Time now to head over to the kitchen where Chef Ian Clark of Harry's Continental Kitchen joins us from, well, there. And Chef, what's on the menu today?
Hi, Don. How are you? So today we're going to be doing a baked salmon with spinach and feta wrapped in phyllo pastry.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll be back with that and the weather coming up.
When caring for my wife alone became too much for me, I called my long-term care insurance company to get help from Granny Nannies. Now the most wonderful nurses help me with her care.
A helping hand and a gentle heart.
At SWC Properties, we pride ourselves in providing to you the very best in customer satisfaction, and the secret's getting out. Maybe that's why so many people have chosen to list their homes with our friendly and qualified agents. After all, it only makes sense to list with a growing agency that markets in so many places. To list your home with SWC, give us a call at our office and ask for Teresa Witt.
You're going to need me. You're going to need us. All of us. You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food. You're going to need our determination, our compassion. You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring. And we promise we'll be there when you need us.
ABC 7 News at 7 weeknights.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here.
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm going to show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch The Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
Sarasota, we're uncorking something special at Michael's Wine Cellar and Tasting Room. Shop in a relaxed atmosphere with our wine specialists. You'll find 1,000 international wines, 200 under $20. National brand and boutique liquors at competitive pricing. Handcrafted beers. Stop by Michael's Wine Cellar and Tasting Room today and let us show you something exceptional.
Mom needed more care than we could provide, so we called Granny Nannies. She now has around-the-clock caregivers, and we have peace of mind. Thanks to them, she's where she belongs, at home.
A helping hand and a gentle heart.
So good to see you on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Josh Doan, and we're walking outside to a beautiful 80 degrees with mostly sunny skies. The dew point right now, 66, humidity at 62%. You know, earlier this morning there was reports of patchy fog that developed around the Suncoast, but now all that fog is mostly mixed out, burned off, and we can enjoy mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies later on this afternoon. Nothing going on here on the satellite radar for the Sunshine State other than the sunshine. So let's break down the weather headlines for this forecast today. A west coast sea breeze is going to develop. We haven't experienced this in a while, and that means that the winds from the west are going to move a little bit further inland now, since this area of high pressure is starting to break down and sag to the south. So that means that if there is any shower activity at all, it will be inland. As far as our forecast today, yes, it's actually going to be a tad cooler. Yesterday, we hit a record high of 86 degrees. Today, we're about at our high temperature right now in the low 80s because of the westerly winds. You have an easterly wind to warmer wind. Wind moves over land. The land heats up quicker than the water, and it heats up more than the water. But if the wind is going over the water, which it's going to be doing this afternoon, it's not going to be as warm as it was like it was yesterday. And then as far as our forecast this coming week, as far as later in the week, Friday, more powerful cold front comes our way to help cool things down. And it's going to feel a little shock to the system when we're talking about temperatures about 20 degrees cooler than what we're experiencing for our forecast highs today. Our radar remains quiet. Like I said, it's possible an isolated shower could develop later on this afternoon, more like an isolated drizzle if that even happens. But if that does happen, most likely will be inland. So nothing going on the radar, and our futurecast does depict maybe a few showers that could develop well east of 75 today. But as you can see, mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies in the forecast. And then, well, these winds I've been talking about, we've had an easterly wind that's going to shift now thanks to an area of high pressure that settles down or sags down to the south, and that return flow around it will be coming in from the west. Now, as far as temperatures go, we are in a very good spot right now in the lower 80s, much better than up here in North Dakota with temperatures only in the lower single digits. But you can see the demarcation line between the two air masses, the colder air to the north and west, and that warmer air out in front of this system. And this cold front is actually coming southward, but it's going to basically wash out in North Florida and pretty much fall apart. There's another system behind it, though, that will arrive by Thursday night into Friday that's really going to bring us that cooler air. And we're talking about highs on Friday only in the mid-60s. Now, once again, the area of high pressure sags southward. We'll have more of that westerly wind around it, helping to aid to that sea breeze for later on this afternoon and tomorrow as well. For the tides today, the high tide will actually be at 12:59 p.m., right at the end of our noon newscast. Low tide at 5 p.m., sunset at 5:45 this evening. For the boaters, expect a northwesterly wind at 5 to 10 knots, seas at 1 to 2 feet with smooth conditions in the bays. Beautiful conditions at the beach, 79. 82 should be our high today. Maybe some areas just a touch warmer than that, but here we go. Here's the big picture. Enjoy these nice temperatures if you like warm conditions, fall or spring-like conditions. And then by Thursday night, that cold front comes in. The winds are going to start cranking, maybe up to 25 miles per hour with those higher wind gusts. And then by Friday, that cooler air is ushered in the wake of that cold front, a high of only 64. But hey, we rebound back into the upper 70s as we get into the first day of 2017, which is Sunday, a high of 78. Don?
Thanks, Josh. Now, you know, during the holidays, you put together all these things for your kids, and then all of a sudden it says batteries not included. Well, there are chances that you did get some batteries with some of the gifts, and especially those little tiny batteries that go with cameras or phones or other electronics. But pediatricians are warning parents about tiny batteries, and they can pose a huge health threat for kids. Poison control centers in the U.S. report that each year thousands of children swallow these little batteries, and the American Academy of Pediatrics offers the following tips to keep your kids safe. Keep the batteries out of reach of small children, and if you know or even suspect a child has swallowed one, contact a poison control center immediately. It's also the season for colds and flu right now, and it's important to contact your doctor right away to make sure it's not an infection that requires antibiotics, or even if it's the flu, you may be able to benefit from taking prescription antiviral medication if it's caught within the first 48 hours. Colds usually begin with a stuffy nose or a sore throat and then progress gradually from there. Folks do have a tendency to blame a lot of other illnesses on the flu, adding to the confusion of it all. So it's important to know what true flu symptoms are in order to get appropriate treatment. Insurers hiked premiums for Obamacare benchmark plans an average of 25% for 2017, but a new S&P Global Ratings analysis is calling that a one-time pricing correction. The analysis said insurers have started closing the large losses that prompted the hikes. S&P expects rate requests for 2018 will be well below this year's level. S&P did not take into account the impact of President-elect Donald Trump's vow to repeal Obamacare next month. The S&P said what happens in 2018 and beyond will depend on how and when Trump and congressional Republicans replace the health reform law. And the holiday season, pressure is on to eat, drink, and be merry, and ABC 7's Alex Redmond explains how overindulging may lead to a condition called holiday heart.
Holiday heart is a term used to describe patients that around this time of the year tend to drink too much, eat too much, and have a sudden change in their level of physical activity.
Symptoms can almost mimic that of a heart attack, says Dr. Albert Avila of the Center for Urgent Care. A fast heartbeat, a hard time catching their breath, even pressure on the chest.
Holiday heart can be atrial fibrillation or an SVT. There's two different kinds of irregular heart activity. SVT, supraventricular tachycardia, a little different than atrial fibrillation.
The holiday season means that we are surrounded by lots of food that we normally wouldn't eat the rest of the year. And also there's a lot of drinking involved.
Instead of having a martini, I had 2 glasses of wine, and that's it. And then I tried to keep the food at a minimum.
I think normally we eat salads and vegetables and maybe fish, and we're very cautious because of his heart issues what we do eat.
Jeanette Zidane says she and her husband David are going to a cocktail party New Year's Eve, which involves heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Stuffed mushrooms and like pigs in a blanket, and yes, they're going to be gourmet hors d'oeuvres, but those usually have a lot of butter, pastries, things you just don't normally eat.
You don't have to eat tons of food to overindulge, says Zidane.
You can overindulge in eating the wrong things.
The problem is when you overindulge, you suffer from that. And that's one of the things I don't want to do, is suffer from overindulging.
I think you just have to maybe eat the right things before dinner, and then when dinner comes along, be very picky.
Although uncomfortable, holiday heart doesn't usually stick around when we get back to our healthier routines.
Usually those symptoms can go away as long as people catch it early before it gets any worse.
But, explains Dr. Avila, it's very difficult for patients to be able to tell the difference between holiday heart and a bigger problem.
That's why it would be important, if they have these symptoms, to seek medical attention as soon as possible.
Reporting in Lakewood Ranch, Alex Redmond, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, still ahead on ABC 7 at noon, Eddie Azari from Apollonia Grill will come back with a little look at his food. And the biggest tackle during the other day's Kansas City Chiefs and Denver Broncos game didn't take place between 2 players. We'll tell you what happened coming up.
It's been an emotional time politically and socially this year.
But during a season when hearts are a little more open to love, we want to talk about good things to believe in.
We believe in compassion and caring.
We believe diversity makes our community stronger.
We believe we can all weather the storm by sticking together.
We believe in finding the facts before taking a stance.
We hope you believe too.
Happy holidays from ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7.
Right now they're passing out Band-Aids. They don't have the funding. They don't have the power to really help people. They just put Band-Aids on them.
The most sweeping mental health legislation in more than 50 years. Find out how the new law could help treat mental illness and substance abuse issues here on the Suncoast. Hi, I'm Ray Collins. We'll speak with local treatment experts.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. At ABC 7, it's all about being here for you. ABC 7 News at 7 with award-winning investigative journalist Alan Cohn. In-depth reporting and debate on important issues and stories in our community, with a featured topic of the day and a live roundtable discussion with community leaders and newsmakers, plus a quick recap of the day's top stories and weather. ABC 7 News at 7, weeknights. Now more than ever, we're here for you, Suncoast. The all-new mysuncoast.com. Just another way we're here for you.
Selling your home? Insist on a 3D showcase tour from Gulf Shores Realty. Virtual tours are flat and boring and look more like a slideshow than a tour. A 3D tour from Gulf Shores Realty is like actually walking through the home without the drive. Get instant access to your next home from any device. Multiple views give homebuyers a perspective like no other. For a limited time, mention ABC 7 and Gulf Shores Realty will provide a complimentary 3D tour with your new listing.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Welcome back, everyone. Breaking news, actually, Rex Ryan, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, has been fired. He will not coach this weekend against the Jets in the final game for the Bills. Well, this weekend is the college football semifinal playoff games, and since the Suncoast is basically Ohio State South, Ohio State, well, they're going to be big news here. Ohio State's double overtime thriller over Michigan put them into the playoffs. Basically, they'll play Clemson at 8 in the Fiesta Bowl in the second game. The early game is Alabama versus Washington. That one's at 3. That game is in Atlanta, the Peach Bowl. The winners match up for the title January 9th in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. But this area will be rocking when the Bucs take on the Tigers Saturday night. And head coach Urban Meyer, now a part-time resident here, he's sold on Buckeye Nation.
Not surprised at when I saw last year, because the first time representing Ohio State is the amount of people that will show up for Ohio State. Matter of fact, in 06, I was on the other sideline. There was about 75% Ohio State fans, so I know Ohio State will be very well represented in the game Saturday.
He's talking about when he was the Gators head coach, and the Gators play on Monday. Now, the Buckeyes, well represented. Now there are 2 places that have official watch parties here on the Suncoast. Captain Kurt's on Siesta Key, just south of Stickney Point Road, and then Evie's Tavern and Grill in Bradenton on 53rd Avenue will both take you up to the new year with Ohio State football. And Rockets rookie Chinanu Anuaku, recently called up from the Rio Grande Valley Vipers of the D-League, was playing in his first NBA game last night, and he brought some old school to the game. Look at this, the granny. That's right. He's a terrible foul shooter, so he had to go with the granny style, and he made 2 free throws, and he has now become much better since reverting to granny style. Rick Barry, Wilt Chamberlain both use that style as well. Rick Barry used it exclusively. Wilt Chamberlain used it to try to improve on his free throws. Now the Kansas City Chiefs, they had a super rookie, Tyreek Hill, who ran 70 yards. Well, this fan, the Denver Broncos fan, gets taken down by a Chiefs security guard at Arrowhead Stadium. What a tackle. A great open field tackle. Probably the best hit of the night. Not the best highlight, but it was right up there. The fan did run like 90 yards before the security guard had to take him down. But, well, the Broncos played about as well as that fan ran. And there's no truth to the rumor that it was Matt Branner from the Suncoast trying to run the daylight there. Now, let's head back over to the kitchen where Eddie Azari is joined by Josh Stone. Eddie is from Apollonia Grill in Bradenton. Josh?
All right, thanks, Dan. Well, you have transformed the kitchen into quite a display here and presentation of food.
Thank you, Josh. Yeah, so today we'll be doing a baked salmon with spinach and feta and wrapped in phyllo pastry, and it's really delicious. One of my favorite new dishes right now. So we'll start off really quick. The recipe is online, so for our viewers, they can find it there. I already started some onions and some garlic in here. We want that really, really hot and get them translucent. And then we're just going to flambe them with a little bit of wine and a little bit of lemon juice. And then we're going to add our spinach. Now you want to be careful if you use a gas oven. You want to take off your pan when you pour the wine, otherwise you can blow up your kitchen, and we don't want to do that.
We don't want that.
So we're going to pour about 2 to 3 ounces of white wine, and you can skip the white wine if you don't want to have any alcohol in it. You could do a little bit of chicken base or even just a little bit of water. You kind of want to slow down the cooking here for the onions and the garlic while we add the spinach to it. And I have the measured spinach here. It's about 2 cups, tightly fit, but a little bit less, a little bit more.
Why do you say you want to slow down the cooking?
Well, the garlic and the onion will start cooking very fast and will burn until the spinach kind of wilts down and cooks.
Okay.
So you want to slow it down a little bit. That white wine's going to help us. It's also going to help develop some nice flavor in there as well, too. So while we'll cook this down, I have some phyllo pastry open here. One tip for phyllo pastry is you don't have to be scared of it. Just keep a towel and cover it up.
Phyllo pastry?
Phyllo pastry,
okay.
Which is basically dough, but it's opened up so thin, so it's almost like a paper thin.
I thought that was paper, but that's really dough. It's amazing.
So it is dough, yeah, that's right. And then we have salmon. Salmon is right behind us. So I took a 6-ounce piece of salmon and I sliced it right through, so that way we're going to put it into the phyllo pastry just like that, together with the spinach. So the spinach takes a couple of minutes to cook, so I have one already prepared for us, so that way we can cut down a few steps. You want to let the spinach, there we go, turn it all off. Maybe we can put that on the side. You want the spinach to cool off completely. If you can put that on the side for me, please.
I can handle that.
You can let it cool at room temperature, and then maybe put it in the refrigerator, and then you want to add some feta to it. I think it's 1 cup of feta to the mixture that we made, and then that's our stuffing. So we'll start with the salmon, the spinach stuffing, into the phyllo pastry, which is going to be right here. 2 sheets or 3, depending how thick you like it. I'm going to fold it about 1 inch over, and then some melted butter with a pastry brush. You want to put some butter all over the phyllo. You want that because you don't want the phyllo to stick, and you want it to be crispy, and you want it to be really flaky and crunchy. So that's the way it works.
It's really an art form.
I guess so, you could say that. So we'll take the salmon, we'll put it right there, and then we'll just use our hands here to put some of that stuffing. Be generous with it, because it will wilt down and will get a little smaller. It looks like it's a lot, but it's really not. All right, so I'll put that over there.
Okay.
I'm going to switch my hands here, my gloves. I'll just use my hands. So what you want to do is here, fold the sides. And you want to work a little quick with phyllo, because otherwise it dries. Stay away from any of the vents on the air conditioner, because that will dry it even faster.
Because it's so thin?
So thin, right. And it won't be as elastic, will break on you. So now all you got to have to do is just really roll it almost like a burrito.
Like a burrito or a wrap?
Or a wrap, that's right. So don't worry about being long. And then we have it in a baking sheet like that. A little bit of butter right on top.
You put it on top, okay.
That's right. And then you bake this in the oven for about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, depending on your oven, at 375 degrees or 400 degrees. So we'll put this in the oven. And then I have one that's already baked for you. Let me use this tongs because it's pretty hot.
And voila, there we go.
Right, magic of TV, right? So I'm going to cover this phyllo really quick here, and I'm going to wrap it up to open up some space. And then we'll decorate our dish here with some yogurt and lemon oregano dressing.
Okay.
Which I have it right here. This is full-fat Greek yogurt with a little bit of fresh dill, some lemon juice, a little bit of garlic, and then you just kind of mix it all up. It looks kind of weird in this bottle, but this is pretty standard for restaurants.
Flavors are got to be amazing.
So
well, we can get this recipe on our website at the ABC mysuncoast.com website, and you can click on the dining tab there and get this recipe along with several others. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
It's been an emotional time politically and socially this year.
But during a season when hearts are a little more open to love, we want to talk about good things to believe in.
We believe in teamwork and building trust.
We believe every cloud has a silver lining.
We believe in treating everyone with respect.
We believe in being kind, no matter how busy the day is.
We hope you believe too.
Happy holidays from ABC7, your Suncoast News.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
At SWC Properties, we pride ourselves in providing to you the very best in customer satisfaction, and the secret's getting out. Maybe that's why so many people have chosen to list their homes with our friendly and qualified agents. After all, it only makes sense to list with a growing agency that markets in so many places. To list your home with SWC, give us a call at our office. and ask for Kimberly King.
Hi, I'm Ray Collins. Reforming mental health care. It's being called the biggest step for care since President Kennedy. How funding could change lives on the Suncoast.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Visit us on New 301, just a quarter-mile north of University Parkway.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School, serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Don Brennan in for Scott Dennis today. Now, is social media behind the violence that erupted at malls across the country? That's the question police are trying to answer today after fights broke out in at least 15 malls from coast to coast and on one of the busiest shopping days of the year. ABC's Elizabeth Hur reports from New York.
Shoppers scrambling for cover, shocked and scared.
Every 5 seconds, we just heard running and then boom, boom, boom.
From New Jersey to Illinois.
Kids hitting each other, kids trampling each other, so it was just madness.
Ohio, Connecticut, North Carolina, Colorado, and Indiana.
Store associates like everybody get back and they're like putting the door down.
Chaos and commotion inside more than a dozen malls, most caught on cell phone cameras. Had police rushing in as panicked shoppers rushed to get out. Police now revealing a loud noise during a food court fight in New Jersey was mistaken for gunfire. In Tennessee, fireworks igniting inside a store started a brawl. And police in Aurora, Colorado say the fights there were organized on social media.
There was something that was going around on social media about a fight that was going to take place here at the town center of Aurora, which is what drew all of these people who were up to no good to our mall.
In all, dozens were arrested across the country, most for disorderly conduct and resisting arrest, but thankfully, no serious injuries. Elizabeth Hur, ABC News, New York.
Now, Russia has recovered one of the black boxes from its military jet that crashed into the Black Sea. A state-run news agency said this morning the flight data recorder was found about a mile from shore and about 55 feet under the surface. The plane's other black box, the cockpit voice recorder, is still missing. The jet had 92 people on board and it went down on Sunday, officials saying there are probably no survivors. A Kremlin spokesman says terrorism is not likely the cause of crash. They're looking at pilot error or a malfunction on the airplane. And today, President Obama and Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe make history by visiting the USS Arizona Memorial at Pearl Harbor together. It's been 75 years since that attack killed more than 2,000 Americans, launching the U.S. into World War II. Above the water, all that remains from the battleship is a rusted gun turret, but beneath these waters, hundreds of men remain entombed. Abe's visit comes months after President Obama's trip to Hiroshima. Now, U.S. Ambassador to Japan, Carolyn Kennedy, says she's always inspired when President Obama and Prime Minister Abe get the chance to reflect on the power of the alliance and reconciliation.
My father fought in the Pacific, so I think for me personally, I think I really can't imagine an event that would be more historic.
He will be the first Japanese prime minister to visit the battleship where almost 1,200 U.S. sailors and Marines were killed during Japan's surprise attack in 1941. And President-elect Donald Trump's war of words with President Obama continues. The two leaders promised a smooth transition of power, but now Trump is firing off on Twitter after the president said he could have beaten him on election night. ABC's Kenneth Moten has the details from Washington.
The president versus the president in waiting.
Very good man. Thank you, very good man.
Who could have beaten whom if the president could have run for a third term? In a podcast, President Obama told his former White House advisor, David Axelrod, he's confident in his vision.
I think I could have mobilized a majority of the American people to rally behind it.
Donald Trump fired back on Twitter. President Obama said he thinks he would have won against me. He should say that, but I say no way. Later adding, the world was gloomy before I won. There was no hope.
My guess is we are looking ahead to what's going to happen on January 21st. I think Barack Obama is going to be very assertive and very aggressive in taking on Donald Trump.
Trump's Twitter outrage shifted to the United Nations after the passage of a UN resolution calling the expansion of Israeli settlements illegal. Trump tweeted, "The UN has such great potential, but right now it is just a club for people to get together, talk, and have a good time." The Trump tweets comments the president-elect works to disentangle himself from his business and his charitable foundation, which he claims, unlike most foundations, it never paid fees, rent, salaries, or expenses. 100% of money goes to wonderful charities. Trump's foundation is under investigation by the New York Attorney General over questions about its collections, donations, and spending. The AG says Trump can't legally dissolve his foundation until the investigation is complete. Trump busy tweeting, but he and his transition team still have a lot of work to do to fill posts just 3 weeks until Inauguration Day. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
Taking a look at today's weather, well, I don't think either of those presidents could beat the weather we've been having this week. That's
Not
for
at
sure.
all. But, I've been working at it. I'm trying to make my forecast great again, so, we'll see. People sometimes they want the cold, and I'm trying to please everyone. We have warm temperatures today, maybe cooler temperatures as we go through the end of the week. All right, 80 degrees is our current temperature right now. I don't think we're going to get too much warmer than this due to a west coast sea breeze that has developed, and you can see the start of it right now, westerly wind at 5 miles per hour. We haven't seen that in a while because the dominant feature has been more of that easterly wind thanks to high pressure that's been to our north and northeast. But as this high sags southward, that wind is going to shift, and we're starting to see that right now as we're having that west coast sea breeze. So any shower activity that does develop today, it's going to be light and it's going to be inland. I don't think we're going to have any showers at the coast. So today's planner looks like this, mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. I got to take that breezy off. I don't think it's going to be really breezy, but temperatures are going to be in the lower 80s for this afternoon. We'll talk more about this upcoming change in the forecast in a few minutes.
Thank you, Josh. Now to New Year's Eve preparations and new fears in the wake of the terror attack in Berlin. 1 million people are expected to gather in Times Square to watch the ball drop on New Year's Eve. Law enforcement saying there's no specific threat, but they're also taking no chances. A joint security bulletin released late last week expresses concern about unaffiliated lone offenders and homegrown violent extremists targeting the event. Close to 1 million revelers expected to count down the New Year's, meaning that security will be the city's top priority.
To be able to recognize the warning signs, the behaviors that a person who is a threat exhibits, they need to report those individuals to law enforcement.
Speaking of law enforcement, officials across the country asking people attending festivities on New Year's Eve to remain vigilant. If you see something, say something. Now, a family stranded in the snow while on vacation at the Grand Canyon was rescued after a life-threatening ordeal. On Christmas Eve, Karen Klein, her husband Eric, and their 10-year-old son Isaac set out on a family trip to the Grand Canyon, and their GPS served as their guide. Unfortunately, it gave them wrong information. They were caught in the midst of a storm and their car got stuck in the snow. Karen decided to go for help. She is a triathlete and was in the best shape, they all felt, for her to make the walk. And she actually walked 30 miles for 30 hours with a pulled groin muscle. She had to eat twigs and drink her own urine because she didn't want to drink the snow because it would lead to hypothermia. She noticed a cabin near the entrance of the park. She broke a window, crawled in, called for help when she got a signal, and then collapsed.
People should realize that they have more strength within them than they think, and to draw upon that and to not give up hope.
Her training as a triathlete probably helped because, according to survivalists, Karen did the right thing by not eating snow, which lowers your body temperature and leads to hypothermia. Most important, she found shelter. Now, you may want to make your holiday returns sooner rather than later. ConsumerWorld.org's annual return policy survey found some big stores are tightening their windows for returns. Among them, Macy's. Macy's is requiring all returns within a year instead of returns anytime. Kohl's created a January 31st deadline for premium electronics to replace an open-ended policy. Costco switched its return period on major appliances from open-ended to 90 days. Short return periods were added for drones at Target, Walmart, and Toys R Us. The survey found while some retailers made their policies slightly more lenient, most return policies stayed about the same as last year. And speaking of returns, online retail giant Amazon is teaming up with Goodwill to bring in more donations. According to Amazon's website, donors can use the Give Back box. That's a platform to ship donations to Goodwill for free through UPS or the U.S. Postal Service. The offer is good for all boxes, and not just those from Amazon, as long as the box meets UPS or Postal Service regulations. Amazon says donations go to your nearest participating Goodwill organization. Sales revenues support local job placement, training, and other community-based services. And with 2016 winding to a close, the TSA shares its most wild and outrageous finds in carry-on luggage. Look at that. Yes, you think it's a person, but it's a prop, thankfully. There was also a bladed dragon claw found in Atlanta, a fancy gold-plated bullet-decorated oxygen mask, definitely not allowed on board a plane, that's for sure, and a pair of 5-bladed floggers. They're not going on the plane either. They were found in a carry-on in Houston. And then there's Lucille. The Walking Dead fans know this familiar bat with the barbed wire right there. Well, even though the wire in this picture is actually rubber, it's still a no-go as far as carrying on. Cheetahs, the world's fastest land animals, are racing toward extinction. They've reached speeds of 71 miles an hour, but the findings of the recent study published in a journal found that proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences say only about 7,100 cheetahs remain in the world. Cheetahs have lost 91% of their historic habitat that once included areas throughout Africa and Southwest Asia. The journal study suggests securing protected land for cheetahs is not enough because they don't typically stay within conservation areas. And a little kitten has made a trip across 4 states under the hood of a pickup truck. The driver found her after he stopped at a gas station close to Roanoke, Virginia. He then realized it's the same kitten he had seen earlier near his home in Fort Drum, New Jersey. That's about 600 miles away. Now, the cat was apparently in the engine all along.
He was just sitting down here around the airbox area, just on top of the, well, not the master cylinder, but over the brake reservoir. Me and her wrestled for a minute, and then we were able to get her into a cardboard box, and we brought her here to the emergency vet.
The little traveler was dehydrated and had a few scratches. Gallimore says the kitten later found a new home after one of his family members adopted her. Then coming up on your Suncoast News, grandparents, well, they don't usually have much in common with children, but for one 96-year-old, his taste in music matches his granddaughter's, and he got the surprise of his life. We'll have that story coming up.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
Designers do it with style.
Tell me what's going on here, because
Why, you don't like my hair?
The Mark and Mandy Show. In-depth design ideas.
What is up with the tuck tape here? Let's cover it up.
Amazing beauty and fashion tips.
So Halle Berry has amazing skin. Her secret is coffee grounds.
No.
Delicious recipes.
Today, I'm gonna show you a special dish that is sure to please that special someone in your life.
Watch The Mark and Mandy Show right here on your favorite channel.
The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC 7. We're here for you.
Don't miss the 19th annual Thunder by the Bay Motorcycle Festival, January 5th through the 8th, to benefit Suncoast Charities for Children. This year's festival welcomes special guest Blue Oyster Cult to the premier sports campus at Lakewood Ranch on January 8th at 4 p.m. Admission is free. Festival events include a sporting clay tournament, kickoff party, welcome Thunder event, Cruise for Cash charity motorcycle ride, and a 2-day Rockin' and Ridin' at the Ranch festival featuring vendors, live music, a Taste of Thunder area, and more. VIP tickets are available. For tickets and info, visit thunderbythebay.org.
Okay, welcome back. I'm meteorologist Josh Stone. I hope you're having a very pleasant Tuesday afternoon. Pick anywhere you like on the map. It's beautiful conditions right now. Our average for a high is 72, and we're above that once again today, but I think this is basically going to be the highs for the day as we're topping out in the low 80s thanks to a west coast sea breeze that has developed. So with this west coast sea breeze, our temperatures are going to be just topping out in the low 80s. Yesterday, we actually hit a record of 86 degrees, but I don't think we're going to get that high today. A tad cooler today with this west coast sea breeze, winds coming from the Gulf of Mexico. And then as we get into Friday, a little change in our weather. Actually, our temperatures will be below our average of 72, thanks to a potent cold front coming down from the northwest. Our radar remains very quiet right now. However, with this west coast sea breeze that we're experiencing, it looks like there could be maybe some shower activity that develops east of I-75, and if that happens, we're talking about very light showers, and they'll be isolated because just the dynamics are not there to sustain any sort of heavier shower activity. But the radar remains very quiet for us. To our north, though, there's a cold front, and actually this is going to fall apart to the north of Florida. This is the same cold front that stirred up some severe weather just the other day here in the southern plains, and also was attached to a storm system producing very heavy snow in the northern plains, but that has moved off to the east. I checked the airport delays, and it looks like in Newark Airport, there's maybe a 15 to 30-minute delay due to winds there, but everywhere else looks pretty good. So an area of high pressure is a dominant feature on the map. This is going to sag southward, bring that return flow around it, and that's going to aid to that west coast sea breeze along the sun coast and keep our temperatures a little bit cooler than what we've had over the last several days, but still warmer than our average high of 72. Let's check out the boating forecast. Northwesterly winds at 5 to 10 knots, seas at 1 to 2 feet with smooth conditions in the bays and inland waterways. 79 at the beach. Man, beautiful conditions there. Mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies today. And then a little cooler over the next couple of days, but this cold front I was talking about is going to charge in with authority on Thursday night. The winds are going to pick up, and then you can see what the high is going to be on Friday, only 64 degrees, but we rebound by New Year's Day at 78 degrees, so looking pretty good there. Don?
Thanks, Josh. Now, people flock to our beaches every year, and another big tourist draw is the community of Pinecraft. It's a big draw to Amish and Mennonites all over the country. ABC7's Linda Carson has more in a place we call home.
Sarasota's Amish Mennonite community is located in the area around Bay Vista, Tuttle, and Beneva.
This community started in the 30s, where they started coming here to work in the celery fields. And this is kind of where they migrated their homes to, and they kind of live in close to each other. That's how Amish and Mennonites do it.
And here they keep their Amish traditions.
The Amish lifestyle is a little bit slower, simpler, and so this community kind of represents that.
The Amish don't believe in driving cars.
You won't see buggies here, but you'll see bicycles. They're traveling on bicycles like this gentleman over here. That's just how they get around in this local community, or they walk.
Pinecraft is a major tourist destination for Amish and Mennonites all over the country.
I was here the first time with my parents in 1951.
And he's been coming back ever since.
It's warm, and it's got a lot of locals from up north, people that move down from up north kind of congregate here. It's a nice community, usually very safe.
And very convenient for Amish and Mennonite tourists.
From this area, they can take the buses and they can go to the beach. They can really get anywhere in Sarasota they want. But in the end of the day, they're back together in their communities.
Me and my wife came here on our honeymoon 45 years ago.
Now they return every year.
Everybody's pretty much of a kindred spirit, you know, everybody gets along, and our backgrounds are Amish Mennonite, most of us, from way back, if not just, present.
And they all say Pinecraft is a great place to call home.
The community cares about each other, and they invest in their neighbors, and there's a sense of community, spending time together, doing activities, playing games, spending time in the park. So that's what their lifestyle is based on, and so they can do that here in Pinecraft.
Pinecraft, a whole different world from the rest of the very sleek and modern Suncoast, but in its own special way, a great place to call home. Linda Carson, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Stay with us. We're coming right back.
Looking for something fun to do on a Friday night? Then come to Music on Main, the first Friday of every month at Lakewood Ranch. Enjoy free live music, dancing, great food, and lots of fun for every family member, even the furry ones. Meet up with friends, enjoy activities for the kids, or make it a special date night. And be sure to stop by the ABC 7 booth and say hello. Mark your calendars for Music on Main, first Friday of the month, 6 to 9 at Lakewood Ranch. Brought to you by ABC 7 and these sponsors. Tomorrow at 5 on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Matter.
And I'm Don Brennan. With New Year's just a few days away, you may be thinking about your resolutions, right?
Tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast, we have some tips on how you can have a healthier and happier 2017. Josh?
Still going to be warm in our forecast, but big changes come our way for Friday.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
It's been an emotional time politically and socially this year.
But during a season when hearts are a little more open to love, we want to talk about good things to believe in.
We believe in teamwork and building trust.
We believe every cloud has a silver lining.
We believe in treating everyone with respect.
We believe in community involvement.
We believe every person has a story.
We hope you believe too.
Happy holidays from ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC 7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining. ABC 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at 5.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Welcome back, everyone. Sad news right now. Both People and TMZ reporting that Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia, has died. We'll have more news on that coming up at 5 o'clock and let you know on our website, mysuncoast.com, and our Facebook page. Now, the emotions surrounding the death of singer George Michael have included news of his secret charitable work. Dozens of people have taken to social media to reveal good deeds that Michael's tried to hide. Now, reportedly, he gave £15,000 to a woman needing fertility treatments. He donated millions to a children's charity, even working anonymously at a homeless shelter. Michael died on Christmas Day from heart failure. Star Wars, speaking of Princess Leia and Carrie Fisher, proving profitable decades after the ongoing story began. As of yesterday, Rogue One, a Star Wars story, crossed the 3 million mark in domestic grosses that helped put the overall North American box office on the verge of a record year. Estimated ticket sales have hit $11 billion, and industry projections put the year-end total at almost $11.5 billion, easily topping last year's record. 96-year-old Cyrus Porter is a World War II veteran, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather to 50 children, 5-0. That's right, he's also one of Taylor Swift's biggest fans. He'll go anywhere within driving distance to see her in concert. He didn't have to leave his house, though, to meet her. The pop star surprised him with a visit at his home yesterday. She even picked up a guitar and played her hit song, Shake It Off, just for Cyrus. He says he will still see her during her next tour. And it's a Christmas tradition that people really love or really hate. But today, the honor is National Fruitcake Day. Rome is believed to be the creator of fruitcake. One of the earliest recipes known lists pomegranate seeds, pine nuts, and raisins mixed into barley mash. Yummy! Fruitcake. Well, mail-order fruitcake began in 1913, and commercial fruitcakes are often sold from catalogs by charities as a fundraising event. Go ahead, enjoy yourself a little fruitcake today. And once again, Carrie Fisher, it is being reported by People and TMZ that Carrie Fisher has passed away. Wow. We'll have more news, as I said, and stay tuned to our Facebook page and mysuncoast.com. Josh, thank you for joining us. Eddie Azari from Apollonia Grill as well. As I said, more news coming up at 5. And